All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So the field of four is set for the college football playoff, as it will be Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. Now, of the four teams in this year's field of four, only Notre Dame failed to win their conference. Notre Dame's participation means that Texas A&M will play the what-if card, because the Aggies were the fifth-ranked team in the rankings. They were trying to move up as much as possible, but they did beat Tennessee yesterday, 34-13 in Knoxville. But it was not enough to sway the committee to put them in the field of four as opposed to the Fighting Irish. Now, I don't care what anybody says. Notre Dame got into this field because they are Notre Dame. I know that they beat Clemson and North Carolina in the regular season. Big wins, but let's not forget, had to go to overtime to beat Clemson at home without Trevor Lawrence. And we saw the difference and how much better that Clemson looked yesterday in the rematch, because they basically ran the Irish off the field down there in Charlotte. A&M was blown out earlier this season by Alabama in the regular season, but they also beat Florida, LSU, and Auburn. And I know LSU was 5-5 this year. They were still the defending national champions. They had a lot going on for them, but that is still a quality win. Auburn finished the regular season with a winning record, and beating LSU, Florida, and Auburn in the same season is not an easy task. Most teams in the SEC not named Alabama would be lucky to go 1-2 against that trio. Make no mistake about it, and it's been like this for the longest time. The ACC is not as strong a conference as the SEC is. Notre Dame attached their wagon to the ACC this year. Like I said, they're going to get credit for the wins over Clemson and North Carolina, but to me, I think that Clemson victory kind of got canceled out yesterday due to the fact that the Irish were blown out. Money and backdoor politics always rule the roost when it comes to college football. We have seen it time and time again. There were people who complained that we needed a system other than letting the polls decide it. We got the BCS. The BCS got it right sometimes, but there were still plenty of question marks, and some of those question marks have now carried over to the college football playoff. Like what happened right now reminds me of what happened in 2001 when Nebraska was blown out in their final game of the regular season at the hands of Colorado. Did not even make the Big 12 title game, and still they were given an opportunity to go to the Rose Bowl against Miami and play Miami for the national championship. We saw that play out back in 2003, where Oklahoma was blown out by Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game, and yet and still Oklahoma was still allowed to go down to New Orleans to the Sugar Bowl and compete against LSU for the national championship. And it was a situation just like it was for Nebraska versus Miami. It was the same case for for Oklahoma against LSU. They got run off the field by the better squad. It's a situation right now with Notre Dame. I think the same thing is going to happen. I think this Alabama team is simply going to beat the brakes off of Notre Dame. Notre Dame does not deserve to be there. Alabama is a team on a mission, and I've been saying it for the longest time. Haven't been posting a lot about college football this year like I normally do. However, make no mistake about it, Alabama and Clemson are the two best teams in college football, and they are on a collision course to play for that championship once again. Now, I know that there are going to be some people who are going to question Ohio State's presence in spite of the fact that they won the Big Ten. They did some politicking of their own. Big Ten at first said, well, you need to have at least 6 wins or play 6 games in order to get to the Big Ten title game. It looked like it was going to be Indiana until some backdoor politicking came in and said, well, not so fast. Ohio State is undefeated, and they do deserve to be there. And all of a sudden, it was Ohio State facing Northwestern. Ohio State took care of their business versus the Wildcats yesterday. But it's a situation where, again, money and backdoor politics are ruling the roost. This is only going to heighten the talk for people to increase the field from 4 to 8 from the college football playoff. Will it happen, and should it happen? Should it happen? Absolutely not. Will it happen? I don't know. I hope that it doesn't, because the bottom line is this. I know that this year was a little bit different for sports. However, on a regular season, these teams are getting at least 12 or 13 games in the regular season. I think that is enough and ample time to see who are the four best teams in the nation. Then, of course, most conferences right now are going with the conference title tilt. I think that only adds to it, and I think that only heightens that. So we have plenty of time to see who is there. You usually look at a college football campaign. You can see who the best teams are, the two best teams. Of that, it's usually only one team that has a legit gripe to say, you know what, hey, that should have been us. That's what the field of four, I think, diminishes or minimizes the fact of teams being able to say that. If you add 8 teams, there's going to be a 9th team that wants to get in. If you add 16 teams, there's going to be a 17th team that, says they want to be in. So basically all you're doing is opening up Pandora's box. It diminishes more the impact of the regular season, as teams are going to then have an opportunity to go out there and say, hey, we deserve a spot, we deserve a shot. No, 4 teams is enough. And I say that more because, look, the college football playoff has been around for less than 10 years, yes, but let's look at these semifinal games throughout the years. Most of them are blowouts. So we're clearly seeing who the 2 best teams are. So it's a situation where, it's definitely going to happen in the Notre Dame Alabama game. The Irish are going to get run off the field. And then all it's going to do is add to the questions, well, should A&M have been there? Theoretically, you got 2 ACC teams in over an SEC team, which is very surprising because, like I said before, the SEC is the dominant conference, and they've been that way for a very long time now. It's also a situation where I'm not a fan of seeing teams getting blown out in their last game and still being given preferential treatment. If it was a situation where Notre Dame lost that game yesterday 34-30, and you're telling me that Trevor Lawrence threw the game-winning pass with 10 seconds left, or Notre Dame wins that game 34-30, and it's a situation where they lose on literally a last-second play, or they had an opportunity to win and they couldn't get into the end zone, then I'm saying, okay, the reasoning for the Irish being included in this field of 4 increases. However, they were run off the field. You can't have a situation where you're dominated like that and then expect, well, you know what? Look at our body of work for the regular season. It should not work like that. And that is what we have right now. So if you're A&M, you have a legit gripe. I don't like this. It stinks. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, people are going to consistently throw their weight and money around in college football. And at the end of the day, these are the results that we are going to get. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to thank all of the subscribers out there. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.